My name is Maureen Bode. I have lived on the lake for almost my whole life, all except for 8 years. I have lived out here at Dunlap Lake.
Excellent. What brought you to the lake?
Well, obviously, I moved here with my family. Originally, my mom's grandfather was Major Dunlap, and he's developed this whole lake in the subdivision that we all live in. And my parents moved here in 1965, 2 weeks after I was born. So I grew up on East Lake Drive in the house my parents built there. Um, and then when I got married in 1987, my husband and I bought a house in town. And then 8 years later, we moved back to the same house that I grew up in. And in 2016, we bought this house that we live in on the lake here on Osage Drive.
So, what are your earliest memories of the lake?
My earliest memories, I just remember growing up in our neighborhood. We had a great neighborhood with a lot of kids. We had our backyard on East Lake Drive connected with 4 other backyards that were in on Branch Drive. So we had a huge group of kids that we just played with and hung out, rode our bikes, played softball in the backyards, played kick the can at night. Just so many memories with those neighbors. And then our neighbors across the street had the lakes, so we would go and hang out there during the days and swim, and just all kinds of neighborhood parties and fun things going on.
Did you have air conditioning back then, or was that?
We had air conditioning from the minute my parents put air conditioning in our house, so from the get-go, so we were good with that.
That's good. I hear a lot of people like, the lake was our air conditioning. So. Tell us about the Dunlap family. So we have Ollie Dunlap who started this. Tell us about the family.
So obviously I don't remember much because they were all passed away by the time I came along, but just my grandparents, so Ollie Dunlap's daughter, Ora Jane Dunlap Hutz Coltis, was my grandma, and she lived on Barnett Drive when I was growing up, and we spent a lot of hours there, a lot of days, weekends, just visiting with my grandparents, with my cousins that would be in town from out of town, and just spent a lot of time there with my grandparents. And that was a fun house too. Paul Jenkins lives there now. We just would go swimming in the lake all the time. One of the big things I remember is you had to be able to swim across to there was this big stump in the ground that you could jump off of, but you had to, there was probably some rule that we had to be able to swim so far to be able to go across to jump off of it. But there was so many times during the day that we would just be over there hanging out and swimming. They had put a bunch of pea gravel down, so it was real nice and easy to walk into. It was kind of like a little beach, so it was really nice.
Nice. How has living on the lake affected your life and the family and your family members?
I just think it's been a great place as a kid to grow up. It was so much fun. And then when we moved here with our kids, it was, another experience to watch your kids grow up and do some of the same things that you did, be able to go fishing anytime they wanted, or swimming, or just, messing around with their friends and catching frogs, catching turtles, worrying about snakes, whatever. My kids had a unique experience because my parents lived across the street on the water, so anytime they wanted to use the lake, they just went to Grandma's house and hung out there, and it was easy. That we didn't necessarily live right on the lake when my kids were growing up, but they still had all the benefits of being on the water.
So have you seen a big change in the number of boats and the kind of stuff?
There's so many more boats than there was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, there was, maybe a few fishing boats, maybe 1 or 2 pontoon boats out here. not that many, but then over the years it's just amazing how many more boats there are, how many more people are using the lake, especially during the COVID shutdown. Like, because we could look out our window and just see, I don't know, so many boats during the day during that whole COVID shutdown. It was amazing how many more people were using the lake and enjoying the water and taking that time with their families to just decompress and relax.
I really think that's a big part of why we got the assessment through. Is
I think
people
you're right.
really learned the value of the lake and being out. And
You know,
did you take it for granted before?
I think so. I think people take it for granted. I mean, you get busy with your kids running around with their activities and their sports and whatnot, but to find that time to just sit back, relax, enjoy what's in front of you. I know my husband and I now, because we're retired and we have that luxury. We probably go for a boat ride every day if we have the chance. And I mean, obviously not this year, but hopefully that'll be rectified soon with the rains. And we just enjoy our time going out. We might go out for the morning drive with our coffee, or we might go out in the evening with a glass of wine, but we enjoy just going and seeing the improvements that people have made to their property, which has been crazy just even in the last 2-3 years. But just seeing all the changes and just enjoying the wildlife. We are big proponents of helping that our, what do you call it, the conservation of our lake, and we're doing our part by not using any fertilizers or any of that in our yard, and trying to plant more native species in our yard. Like you said, we were talking earlier that some people let their homes go, let their property be more wooded. Ours is totally wooded in the front, and in the back it's more open so we can see the lake. But just trying to get more native plants and animals around to help with the conservation of the area and the lake itself.
Monarch butterflies have been endangered in this area, and I know there's been an effort to bring back native plants. Have you been seeing more? Have you seen the butterflies coming back?
I have not. I haven't seen them so much this year. Last year I had quite a few actually, chrysalises and actual monarchs emerge on some of my milkweed. But this year I planted more, and hopefully in the future we'll continue to see more. So trying to just keep that going and getting more of the native plants and getting rid of some of the invasive species like the honeysuckle. And I have to say I have a lot of English ivy in my yard that was there when I bought it, and I've done my best to eradicate it, but it keeps coming back. So just keep trying to get rid of some of those invasive species so that they don't continue to spread.
Mm-hmm. And just to note, there was a monarch butterfly flying.
Was there?
As we were talking about it.
Can you get that possibly?
I don't know that it's going to show up, but that was pretty cool. So what do you think the future holds for the lake and the community that lives here?
I think this lake, with all the improvements that people have made to their properties and the improvements that the board and the residents have made to the lake itself, that this community is just going to continue to thrive. It's, like everyone says, it is a hidden gem right here in Edwardsville. A lot of people that you talk to don't know about it. Even people that I grew up with here in Edwardsville just didn't even know it was here. But, as I've said, I've lived here all my life. So I probably take a little more, take it for granted more than some people, but I just love living here, and every day wake up and look out my window and say, I can't believe I live here,
Yeah. A question come out of that, and now I'm forgetting what it was. Are there any pieces of knowledge you'd like to leave with us? New people to know?
New people, like everyone, everyone always says just get out and get more involved, and I totally agree with that. This past year or two, I've gotten involved with the board on different committees, and it's been very rewarding, and it's a great way to meet new people, and it's a great way to help the community and to find out what needs to be done and in what ways you can help. You may not have expertise in anything, and it doesn't matter, because it's just a lot of people getting together and figuring out what we can do to make this community even better than it already is.
Do you have any memories about social activities they did when you were a kid?
You know, they weren't, when I was a kid, I don't recall like big social events for the whole subdivision. I remember more like our specific neighborhood. So we would have, you know, one family would have a big 4th of July party. Dick and Harriet Ford on East Lake Drive, they always had a big, huge 4th of July party with the whole neighborhood. And I mean, we're probably talking, you know, 20 to 30 households would be invited to this thing, and we would all, you know, go there. I guess there was fireworks. I don't even really quite remember that, because, you know, I was little, but it was just a good time because there were so many people, and like I said before, the neighborhood was, there were so many people right around my age, my brothers and sisters' ages, so we always had somebody to hang out with, to do something with.
Perfect. Well, sounds like we may have more people here, so do you have anything else you can think of?
You know, just a couple of other memories that I have about growing up is like when they put the sewer system in out here. I remember before that, I remember as a family of 7 having to go to the laundromat to do the laundry all the time, and it was just such a relief to not have to do that anymore after the sewer systems came through. And our well used to run dry every summer, and after that we didn't have to worry about that anymore. It was so great. And just when they were building that, I remember the big dirt mounds along the road, and it was just another place for us as kids to hide and hang out and you know, do what kids do. But
Yeah. Cool.
yeah, it's a lot of good memories. Don't get me going.
Yeah. Oh, it's all purpose. Get you going.